We're actually, Mark and I will give most of the presentation for
That's why
this.
you
Okay, good evening. Would like to call the meeting to order in accordance with the Open Public Meetings Act, PL 1975, Chapter 231. Adequate notice of this regular meeting of the Board of Adjustment of the Township of Franklin has been provided. Would you call the roll, please?
Mr. Betterbid.
Here.
Ms. Grauman asked to be excused. Donald Johnson. Bruce McCracken. Mr. Rich is sick. He asked to be excused. Mr. Shepherd. Mr. Caldwell. Mr. Rosenthal.
Here.
Mr. Reese.
Here.
Mr. O'Connell.
Here.
Chairman Thomas.
Here, we have some minutes to approve. Regular meeting, July 18th, 2013. Do I hear a motion if there are no corrections or discussion?
I'll second.
Mr. Betterbid.
Yes.
Mr. Rosenthal.
Yes.
Mr. Reese.
Yeah.
Mr. O'Connell.
Yes.
Chairman Thomas.
Yes, meetings for the regular meeting August 1st, 2013. Again, if there are no corrections or additions or discussion, I'll entertain a motion. Feel free to speak up.
Who's fooling around?
Mr. Betterbid. Mr. Rosenthal.
Yes.
Yes.
Mr. Reese.
Yes.
Mr. O'Connell.
Yes.
Chairman Thomas.
Yes. Resolutions, Franklin Township Board of Ed, ZBA 13-00011.
And I may tell you for each one who's eligible to vote. Mr. Betterbid and Chairman Thomas are eligible to vote.
All right, first, we need a motion.
What's the, wait. Okay. This is the resolution we're doing?
Yeah, the
Yeah,
resolution.
okay, I move that we pass the resolution, Franklin Township Board of Education, ZBA 1300011. Do I have to read all of them?
No. Just the one, and then
Yes.
Chairman will second, then we can, because only two eligible.
Do I have
to
a
vote.
second?
Second,
Mr. Betterbid,
Yes.
Chairman Thomas.
yes. Wilf, ZBA 13-00010.
Okay, the four people eligible to vote are Mr. Rosenthal, Mr. Reese, Mr. O'Connell, and Chairman Thomas.
I'll move it.
Need a
Mr.
motion to-
Rosenthal,
Yes.
Mr. Reese.
Yes.
Mr. O'Connell,
Yes.
Chairman Thomas.
Yes. Wright, ZBA 13-00009.
The same four people are eligible to vote.
Need a motion?
I'll move it.
Second.
Mr. Rosenthal.
Yes.
Mr. Reese, Mr. O'Connell,
Yes.
Chairman Thomas.
Okay. Kings Row, ZBA 10.
Same four people.
I'll move it.
00001. Need a motion?
I'll move.
Second?
Mr. Rosenthal.
Yes.
Mr. Reese.
Yes.
Mr. O'Connell. Chairman Thomas.
Yes. Azar, ZBA 13-00012.
Everyone present is able to vote.
Okay, move that we pass the Azar ZBA 13-00012.
Second?
Mr. Betterbid.
Yes.
Mr. Rosenthal.
Yes.
Mr. Reese.
Yes.
Mr. O'Connell.
Yes.
Chairman Thomas.
Yes. Harris Fitness, ZBA 13-00013.
Mr. Betterbid and Chairman are the only two eligible to vote.
Okay, move that we pass ZBA 13-00013. Second.
Second?
Mr. Betterbid.
Yes.
Mr. Thomas.
Yes. EJ Equities, PLN 13-0002. That was an interpretation.
Everyone besides Mr. O'Connell, who's here, is eligible to vote.
Jeez.
Need a motion?
Move that E&J Equities, PLN 13-00002.
Second.
Mr. Betterbid.
Yes.
Mr. Rosenthal.
Yes.
Mr. Reese.
Yes.
Chairman Thomas.
Yes. New Jersey Buddhist Vihara, ZBA 12-00020.
You can move.
Everyone here except for Mr. Reese is eligible to vote.
Move that New Jersey Buddhist Vihar, ZBA 12-00020.
Second.
Mr. Betterbid.
Yes.
Mr. Rosenthal.
Yes.
Mr. O'Connell.
Yes.
Chairman Thomas.
Yes. Okay, discussion part of the agenda, vouchers for Patrick Bradshaw, September and October, retainers 1730, Garmin 195, Susserman 255, various matters, April 13th through June 13th, 465, Wright 135, Azar 180, Franklin Board of Ed 360, Harris Fitness 120, Romero 120. I'll entertain a motion to, actually, all in favor of paying the vouchers.
Aye.
Aye. Aye.
Opposed? Nay. Motion carried. I guess that's the kind of business we have
Yep.
when we don't meet too often. A little lengthier than usual. A couple of other issues before we start. Under the hearing section, New Jersey Tabernacle Incorporated, ZBA 13-00015, use variance with site plan in which the applicant is proposing construction of a 3,935 square foot church at 8 Como Drive and 319 Cedar Grove Lane, Somerset, block 508.02, lots 42.01 and lot 43 in the R40 zone, carried to November 13th, 2013. If you are here for that, there will be no further notice. Ronald Snyder's docket ZBA 13-00019, hardship variance in which the applicant is proposing to construct a 2,750 square foot home at 249 Lenox Avenue, Somerset, block 300, lots 19 to 21 in the R15 zone, carried also to November 13th, 2013. Again, no further notification. The first hearing we will have involves Franklin Township Board of Ed, docket ZBA 13-00020, minor subdivision with a D2 use variance in which the applicant is proposing to subdivide 13.98 acres and the expansion of non-conforming use at 363 Elizabeth Avenue, Somerset, block 502.02, lots 14 and 32 in the M2 zone. It sounds like a lot, but...
Yeah, Mr. Chairman, this is about as technical as you can get. The Board of Education is selling a portion of their property to an adjoining property owner, obviously to secure funds to help with the tax base. They're subdividing off about 14 acres. It's extremely technical. Probably half the municipalities in the state would just allow them to do it. We're a little bit more conservative where we require them to come for the D2 variance because technically it's a pre-existing non-conforming use, and technically, because they're taking property away, there's less property on that, so it is an expansion of the use. So with that,
And the use we're talking about,
there's no change, you know, it's a school use, there's no change
it's the same
physically.
school.
Right, same school, there's no physical change, just subdividing off a portion of the property that's not needed for public use.
Okay, your turn.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. For the record, I'm Victoria Fannin. I'm an attorney with the law firm of Parker McKay.
Is the mic on?
Yeah, it sounds on.
It's on. Representing the applicant this evening, Franklin Township Board of Education. As Mr. Dominich indicated to the board, this is an application for a subdivision of property that's owned by the Board of Education. It is the Elizabeth Avenue School, and it's designated as Block 502.02, Lot 14.01. The school has been in existence for over 50 years. The application is to subdivide a approximately 14-acre portion to the rear of the property, and it's going to be offered for sale. It will be sold to the adjoining property owner, who will thereupon consolidate this 14-acre piece into their existing land holdings. We're here this evening because, as Mr. Dominic indicated to you, is we have to request use variance approval because the school is a pre-existing non-conforming use. The property presently has approximately 39 acres, and with the 14 acres, we'll have about 25.83 acres. We have already obtained state approval for a determination that the parcel that is to be subdivided and conveyed to the adjoining property owner is not needed for educational purposes. And so with that, I have one witness this evening, Mr. Ardman, who is the preparer of the subdivision plan, and he will go over the plan and the reasons for the purpose of the variance request before the board. If you don't have any questions of me, I'd like to have Mr.
Okay.
Ardman sworn.
You solemnly swear or affirm to tell the whole truth, nothing but the truth?
Yes, I do.
And your name for the record?
First initial F, Ardman, A-R-D-M-A-N, licensed professional.
I don't think the mic's working.
Yeah.
Try the one up by the.
Okay, you did not lose your license since we've seen you before.
Correct, the licensed
Last one.
engineer and licensed planner in New Jersey.
Continue then.
Thank you, Mr. Thomas.
For purposes of the record, I would like to,
Use the mic.
Mr. Ardman accepted as a,
He is.
Yeah.
Use the mic.
You gotta use.
and Mr. Ardman, you've been sworn and you've been accepted as a professional, as an engineer, professional planner. Have you been retained by the applicant, Franklin Township Board of Ed, and to prepare a subdivision plan for this property?
Yes, I have.
Could you briefly explain to the board the purpose of the application and the area that is to be subdivided?
Certainly. I'm going to mark this exhibit, Ms. Bradshaw, A1.
A1?
Okay.
A1 is the subdivision plan. Is that a color rendering of the plan that was filed with the application?
That's correct. The minor subdivision sheet M1, last revised 8/28/13.
Thank you.
So the rendering here, again, the plan that's in your set, and we have colored in the different shades of green here, the properties in question. The property up here along Route 287 is the original Lot 32. Elizabeth Avenue is here on the right side of the plan. North is up on the plan. The present-day Elizabeth Avenue School is the dark green, as well as the lighter green with the crossed-hatched red on it. So that crossed-hatched red is the piece of the property in question that we're looking to subdivide off the school property and attach it to Lot 32, which is along Route 287. Again, the present-day school right now is in the northerly side of the property along 287. I'm sure many of you are familiar with. There's a loop drive that comes in. There's a parking lot on the north side, parking lot on the south side. To the rear of the school, you have some existing playground areas and existing swings and rec areas. The back is open space of the darker green area. Then there's a detention basin to the rear or easterly portion of the property up against the existing woods. The portion of the property that's up for sale, again, as I stated, it is largely woods. There's a stream corridor which cuts through that property with associated floodplains and wetlands area. Much of that area is not usable land. The school at this time does not use that whatsoever. Their use really is contained to the area up right in back of the school in front of the detention basin or to the west of the detention basin. As was stated, it's approximately 13.98 acres, which we propose to subdivide, and that'll leave the school lot with 25.83 acres, and the new lot, 32, will become 19.9 acres. The remaining area that will stay with the school is all what I would term the good land. It's level land, it's clear, it's suitable for any, future building or construction. There's plenty of room available. There's over 430 feet to the east of the existing school and over 700 feet to the south of the existing school, which will remain with the school property. As was stated, no new construction with this project. It is simply a land swap here, so no intensification of the existing use. And again, as you heard, the D variance is very technical, is that a smaller lot technically intensifies the use. In my opinion, since the area that is being subdivided off is not actually part of the active use of the school, in reality, there is no real intensification of the use of the site once this project is done. As you heard from Ms. Fannin, my finding upon inspection of the site is that there's no intensification and the area being subdivided is not critical for the school use. The Franklin Township Board of Education had the same finding. It then had to go to the State Board of Education to agree to let the school sell the property, and a similar finding was made that there were no educational facilities, no properties being sold off that were critical to the educational facilities on this property. So as far as the planning conclusions in regard for the use variance, I believe the subdivision can be granted as it will not affect the functionality of the site or of the property. The remaining 25.8 plus acres is sufficient for the present and the future needs. As I said, there's significant developable area left on the property. The school is an inherently beneficial use, so obviously as part of the test for any kind of impacts that is in the positive criteria is by definition inherently beneficial. And as I said, since there's no expansions of the property, I would put on the record that there's no negative criteria. There's no new traffic, no noise, no intensification of the property, so there's no negative impact on the property.
Mitch, who's going to buy the property?
E&J Equities is the property to the rear here, which is this lot along 287.
So do we know their intended use?
There's no plan that I'm aware of right now. They're just consolidating it for the lots.
What is the existing size of that lot?
The existing size of the lot is 5.9 acres.
I presume that you've talked about this to the Board of Education and they have no problem with it?
That's correct. Ms. Fannin is the attorney representing the Board of Education. They went through an open bid process for selling the land, which Ms. Fannin can speak to a little more, but they're the ones who are ready, willing to sell this property.
I can attest to that. The Board of Education, is this working again?
You have to put it real close.
Okay. Is that better?
Yeah.
Okay. The Board of Education, the purpose of the subdivision is to conveyance of the property pursuant to New Jersey statutes and New Jersey educational requirements under the administrative code. There were a number of steps that we had to participate in and obtain approvals from the State Department of Education before we could even make the application before the board. And as part of that evaluation before the State Department of Education, the board's professionals and Mr. Ardman walked the site, made a determination that that particular area, the tract, 13.98 acres, was not suitable or needed for educational facilities and would have no negative impact on the remainder of the school. And the State Department of Education, we have a letter which we can submit, has made that determination, has given the board the approval to dispose of the land.
Thank you.
And we've also put the property out to bid. It's been noticed for bidders, and the adjoining property owner was the winning bidder.
Thank you.
So when you say that there's no negative impact, I mean, you don't know what the new owner is going to do with it, so how can you say no?
When there's no negative impact, it's not an impact on the educational facilities because of what it's being utilized for right now. It's vacant, wooded, and streams, so that it's not going to have a detrimental effect on the remainder of the school facilities. So with respect to that particular piece, Mr. Ardman, that anything that would have to be done with the adjoining property owner would have to be evaluated, and of course they would have to obtain required approvals if and when they make a determination for future development. But as far as
You're saying as far as the conveyance is concerned, there's no negative impact?
As far as the application that's pending before the board is a subdivision, by disposing of that 14 acres of the 39 acres that the school presently sits on, it's not going to have any type of impact on the existing facilities as the school sits today.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, I have a question in general. In your planning comments, you mentioned under page 2, number 2, the variance that are previously granted from lot 32. Who do we have to get to agree to that? The applicant, or is that or the
No, well,
person buying the property?
Well,
Or it goes in the resolution and the person buying it gets the whole package?
yeah, I think that's, yes, the suggestion is that this language be put in the resolution. And basically,
I agree, I just want to make sure it's
And
aimed
I
at the
can,
right.
and I can speak as a representative of that applicant, that they've said that that condition is satisfactory, as was written by Mr. Healy in the report.
yeah, and basically the point is that the lot as proposed, the larger lot that's being proposed doesn't have access or frontage, but the reality is it's adjoining lands owned by the same property owner And realistically, if they were to choose to develop that property in accordance with the zoning, which I believe is M2, in all likelihood, they would have to, there'd probably be an assembly of property. They would have to gain access to the site. Nobody's going to develop the site like it is right there. But, so it's just, the recommendation is that just be acknowledged in the resolution, just as a matter of fact.
Okay.
I think
Any other
that's,
questions that you have for the witness?
My only brief comment, I think I addressed Mr. Healy's report and Mr. Thomas's report. Just want to hit that quickly. Mr. Scott Thomas, who reviewed the plat itself. I'll just skip to page 2. Take no general exception to his recommendations, but the first 3 items talk about technical lot consolidation issues. Along with the properties that we noted in the application, the board also owns a few lots, as I'm pointing to in the northern section here. There's a paper street, Ethel Street and Tompkins Street. His recommendation is that they all be looked at for consolidation with this lot. Tompkins after possible vacation, Ethel Street after coordination with the neighbor. We don't disagree that any of those are good recommendations. Because of timing of this, obviously those would have to talk to the neighbors, go to council for vacation of streets. We would look to have those as recommendations to follow up instead of conditions before filing the plat.
Okay.
and I concur with Mr. Ardman's conclusions. I'd like to have those recommendations recited in possibly the resolution as such. The board will cooperate to follow through on the. Sorry, I don't know if that was me.
Yeah,
Happens once in a while.
Yeah, the board does that all the time with what you're talking about. We want you to be able to file and convey the property, and later on, you're the Board of Ed, you know, we've always worked with each other, it won't be an issue.
So we could bifurcate that as a separate action down the road. Also, Mr. Ardman, what is the status of, on page 3 of the engineer's report, the status of the outside agency approvals?
DNR canal is pending. DEP is not applicable. There's no construction. Somerset County Planning Board we have, and Soil Conservation District, again, not applicable as there's no construction.
So you don't have any issue with complying with them?
Correct.
Good.
Okay, so you have no issues with any of the reports, and it's clear you have to get the approvals from any other agencies that you need. Are there any other items in terms of the testimony?
Open it up to the public?
If you're finished with the witness, yeah.
Yes.
All right, we will open to the public. Is there anyone out there who would like to ask this witness questions concerning his testimony? And I'm assuming this is your only witness.
This is.
Is there anyone out there who would like to make a statement then concerning this application? Okay, then we'll close to the public. Any board questions or comments?
Let's vote.
Anyone, anything from Mr. Bradshaw, Mr.?
No.
Ready to vote?
We'll look for a motion then.
Give it a shot. The hell am I the only-
Sure, normally
I-
you do this, Ray.
I move that we vote in favor of the Franklin Township Board of Education docket ZBA 13-00020 for the subdivision of said property, lots number 1401 and 32,
And that, of course, is subject to any of the conditions that.
subject to any of the conditions herein stated.
Mr. Chair, we have requested a D2 use variance in connection with the subdivision.
Yeah, it's all.
It's a more intense use, right? Is there a second?
Second.
Mr. Betterbid,
Yes.
Mr. Rosenthal,
Yes.
Mr. Reese, Mr. O'Connor,
Yes.
Chairman Thomas.
Yes.
Just for the record, Mr. McCracken arrived at 7:52, so he is eligible to vote on the next one.
Okay.
Okay.
Thank you.
This freaking thing is just... Freaking Anne Marie's.
Yeah.
Okay, the second application, St. Matthias, docket ZBA 13-00018. This is a sign variance in which the applicant is proposing two freestanding signs at 168 JFK Boulevard, Somerset, Block 403, lots 8 and 9, in the R20 zone.
Yeah, Mr. Chairman, it's probably helpful if I give a little brief explanation, and then if Mark gives some further explanation regarding the planning. St. Matthias, there are two variances that are required. One sign is permitted due to their large frontage. They want a second sign, which is, the sign will be conforming to size. It's your typical sign that you have for a house of worship that has changeable letters, not digital, that you physically do. You know, I said the sign is conforming. They also need a setback variance due to where the right-of-way is. 25 feet is required. They're putting it 1.5 feet. So those are the two variances. Mark can talk about the planning issues that are involved with this.
Okay, I think the best thing to do is if you have a copy of my report, if you turn to the second page of the report, there's a photograph of the property on the top, and it shows where the existing sign is on the right-hand side of the entrance drive. Basically, it's two small, I guess you can call it monument signs. Looks like it's about no more than 2 feet off the ground. And then on the left-hand side of the driveway, that's where they're proposing their new sign. As Vince said, it would be relatively modest in size, 17 and a half square feet, 6 foot 8 inches in height, which is typical. But the reason for the variance is, one is that technically they're allowed one, and this would create a second sign. Again, with the one sign being the existing sign that's to remain, and that's, the second sign is definitely remaining, right? The first sign, okay. I can just tell from the scale of that, it's probably pretty hard to see, so you're adding the second sign for greater visibility, I would assume.
One is for the church, the other sign is for the guard to the
Okay,
school.
okay. Well, I'm sorry, what?
We don't actually have that. I don't have that.
You don't have that picture?
I don't know what the hell it is. Here's what it is. It's certainly not. Here's what we don't have it. It's Bruce. Bruce, you're the one that has it.
No, I have that
Here
one.
it is. Oh, here.
Yeah, I got that picture.
Let me see what you have.
I have, I don't have, I have a mixed
No.
package with the tabernacle.
Yeah, so I got the same mix.
It's a sign for the school, not the church, right?
Want to take 5 minutes?
I think this is something we can overcome. We're not,
And bottom line is, what they're proposing is on the left-hand side, a 17 and a half square foot sign. I think you all know the JFK right-of-way. It's extremely wide. I believe it's a 100-foot right-of-way. So the front property lines are actually a far distance away from the actual roadway. So to the degree that the sign is required to be 25 feet off of the front property line, and this is only 1.5 feet, it sounds like an extreme variance, but in reality, it's going to be 50 feet from the paved, from the curb line. So I think right there, that's a C1 hardship variance. And I think the sign setback variance also could qualify as a C2, which is the advancement of the public purpose of zoning. Compliance with the requirement would put the sign about 75 feet away if they technically complied
Right.
from the paved, and it would be, well, it would be in the middle of the parking lot and also not very visible. So I would say that putting the sign closer than is permitted, 50 feet from the roadway, 1.5 feet off of the property line, is actually better design. So I think it meets both the C1, the hardship, and also C2, it's also just a better design, better placement than the zoning would dictate. And frankly, for those reasons, I don't see any substantial impact whatsoever resulting from these variances.
Okay, we understand.
now, do you think you need any more testimony?
No, I don't. Scott Miller on behalf of St. Matthias, and I concur with everything that's been provided.
Okay, I think also the visibility coming from Easton Avenue to pick up these signs, the new ones will make it a much more improved experience for someone who's looking for the facility. Is there anyone in the audience who would like to ask a question?
The church's
Come on up.
driveway is here for the church inside.
I would say if you'd like to ask a question or make a statement this time at the same time, come on up. The only difference is we need to swear you in.
Okay, if you'll raise your right hand for me, I'm right here. Hello? Hi. Yep. Raise your right hand, I'm going to swear you in. Solemnly swear or affirm to tell the whole truth, nothing but the truth?
I do.
Okay, tell us who you are and where you live, please.
I live, my name's Suad, Suad, Al-Rabi'i, A-L hyphen, R-A-B as in boy, I-A-I.
Okay.
Myself and Mr. Henry Newell is my neighbor. Both houses are adjacent to St. Matthias lot, our backyard on JFK Boulevard. You were talking about the signs and the size and things. We have no clue what you are talking about. To what degree is going to impact our backyard? We will appreciate if we have an idea where the sign will be and how big, if we have a copy of what you have.
Your backyard is on Kennedy Boulevard?
Yes,
And you're
Mr.
next to
Nowell
the-
is
your-
immediately adjacent to St. Matthias lot, and I am next to him.
Well, your backyard's probably going to be about 150 feet away from wherever the sign will be.
I see.
Venture to say, it will be hard to imagine any real impact.
It's, the sign is going to be proposed on the left-hand side of the entrance drive. It's about 50 feet off of the street. It's going to be about 6 foot 8 inches tall, so it'll be maybe a little bit taller, about 8 inches taller than I am.
Yeah.
And then the sign itself is going to be about 5 feet by 3 feet.
Okay.
And you have a fence?
Well, it's going to be similar to the sign that's already up, just in the up the road a little bit.
Yeah. You probably won't even know it's there.
Have you seen the sign already that's there?
No.
It's been there for years and years.
Then I think that speaks well for
Right.
for the next
I
sign.
think so.
No, because sometimes they put fence against the leaves, sometimes they have the fair, the Luna Park Fair.
You won't even know it's
So
there.
it's, always they change something, so that's why I didn't know exactly where it's going to be and to which extent it's going to affect our,
See, here's what the sign will look like.
okay.
You won't even know it's there. If you don't notice the first sign, that's the original sign. You
Okay,
probably won't notice this.
thank you.
Okay, thank you. Anyone else wish to speak? Then we'll close.
Oh.
Come on up.
Father?
You're going to make
We
me...
still need to swear you in.
That's not...
Right,
Yeah,
Okay,
right.
so if you'll raise your right
swear
hand.
you in.
Solemnly
So help you God.
solemnly swear or affirm to tell the whole truth, nothing but the truth?
I do.
And your name?
Douglas Hefner.
Okay.
Hey, can I just address them that I believe that you might live up the next block on the Carnival Ground side? This is all the way down by the parish office and Loop Lane. It's nowhere near your property at all. So it's all the way at the end of where the school is and Loop Lane across the street in JFK. So it should have no bearing on your property at all. Yeah, but I just want to just to tell them that it's completely at the other end of the property, so, and it is for the school, so.
Yeah, the reason you received the letter is that by law, everybody that's located within 200 feet of the property, the entire property has to get noticed. So that's probably why you received that letter.
Thank you, Father.
Now I'm getting yelled at again. It's by the entrance to the school. I only am the boss. But it's still not anywhere near where you people are.
Okay.
I don't want to upset.
Okay, thank you. Anybody else wish to speak? Then we'll close. I'll give you a chance to say something.
No, he's happy.
My name on the record is sufficient. Thank you.
Okay. Any comments, questions, or motions?
Okay, I move that we vote in favor of the signs with the stated variances. Docket ZBA 13-00018.
Second.
And everything discussed.
Mr. Betterbid?
Yes.
Mr. McCracken?
Yes.
Mr. Rosenthal?
Yes.
Mr. Reese?
Yes.
Mr. O'Connell?
Yes.
Chairman Thomas?
Okay, yes, and good
Thank
luck.
you, good
with-
luck.
Before we adjourn, I want to ask Mr. Dominic to quickly go over the schedule of meetings.
Yes.
Has there been changes, so
Yes.
everyone has that?
Yes,
on
it's
the same-
very important. You'll be getting emails, but our next meeting will be on Halloween, 10:31. We're going to hear 1340 Hamilton Street. Most of you were here the first time we heard the retail center. They're coming for a gas station at the corner of Veronica and Hamilton. That'll be the only application on that evening. We're going to hear them on the 31st on Halloween. On the second Wednesday of November, which is the 13th, we're canceling the meeting on the 7th, and we're going to meet the following Wednesday on the 13th.
Do we have to come in costume on Halloween?
Absolutely.
I know
Absolutely.
you'll come as a golfer.
I do have a Green Lantern costume.
Yeah,
but,
we're-
I don't know. We'll see.
We're changing the meeting from the first Thursday to the second Wednesday because that second Wednesday is available here, and we have 3 or 4 applications that have been pending, all of Mr. Lanford's, he was supposed to be here tonight, but he was denied, so I told him he couldn't come.
That's the only meeting in November?
Yes, that'll be the only meeting in November, so the next 2 meetings will be 10:31 and 11:13, and then we won't meet again until the first Thursday in December.
Okay. If there's no further business, then the meeting will